Hey, so when I'm bored, I just deck build decks. And right now I'm thinking of making a reboot jamming deck with some blocking in it. And this is kind of what I want to talk about today. So I'm still brainstorming some ideas. But with the newer Starter Deck 15 coming out tomorrow, I'm very excited because this means that we're going to get our third copy of a black level 3 Digimon with the reboot inheritable that can generally that can be generically applied to any Digimon that has it as its source. So currently there are not many Digimon with reboot as an inheritable. That's a level 3. So we have Toy Agumon from BT2, we have Ponchesmon from BT13, and we will have tomorrow Clear Agumon Zeradak 15. There is also Sparrowmon from BT10, but it only applies to Shoutmon or Mervermon in name, so it's not a generic inheritable for giving Digimon reboot. But we will also have Hagurumon from BT15, so this is a very notable mention. You can't include it in your decks yet, but I do want to touch up on it because this will be an improvement for the deck in the future. But right now, currently, Pagumon is probably the best egg that you can use for the black deck. So inheritable on deletion, reveal the top card of your deck, add it to your hand if it's a black Digimon card, otherwise place it at the bottom of your deck. In the future, we will get Kyokyumon, and I think that this inheritable is much better for this particular deck, just because you are guaranteed to have reboot as you digivolve over any of your level 3s. So inheritable, opponent's turn, once returned, when a Digimon becomes unsuspended, draw 1. So it's a really good egg. So even if you aren't running reboot Digimon, just if any Digimon on your opponent's turn becomes unsuspended during unsuspend phase, during main phase, anytime during their turn, then you draw 1. It is just really good synergistically with reboot, just because you can guarantee that, oh, you have a Digimon that will unsuspend during your opponent's unsuspend phase. So this coupled with reboot is really good. But this alone, even if you don't run reboot, just playing the game normally and your opponent unsuspends during their unsuspend phase, you still draw 1. So this Kyokyumon is better going forward in the future. But right now, I would say that Pagumon is the best egg for the deck, just because you still want the draw. It's worse just because it basically can only activate one time. This is an on deletion, so it has to be deleted for you to activate this inheritable. And there is a small chance of whiffing if you do not reveal a black Digimon card. This one is just better because it has the potential to be activated again and again. And also, it doesn't care if the top card of your deck is a black Digimon card or not, you still just draw it anyways. So this Kyokyumon is better going forward in the future, but right now Pagumon is the best choice. I also want to mention this Hagurumon. So currently we only have access to Toy Agumon, Ponchesmon, and Clear Agumon. So these are the only level 3s with a generic reboot inheritable that we have access to. This Hagurumon has a generic reboot inheritable as well, but it's not released yet. The only thing that really makes this better than the others is that it also has an on-play effect. So on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with the machine or cyborg trait and 1 black tamer card among them to the hand. Return the rest to the bottom of the deck. Oh, cool, you have a chance to +1 card in hand, +2 cards in hand. And just because there is a surprising amount of cyborgs and machines in this deck, then this can actually come up often. It's just that we don't have access to this card yet, so unfortunately. These are the 3 rookies that I'm going to be focusing on the build. So Ponchesmon might seem odd, because it digivolves for 1 from black, 1 from yellow, but the goal isn't really to digivolve with the Ponchesmon. Since the Toy Agumon and the Clear Agumon Digivolve for 0 from level 2 black, then these are the ones that you really want to focus on Digivolving over your Digi-Egg. And then, it's just 3 costs, so you can just hard play this when needed. Sometimes the 1 Digivolve cost could be handy, and you could use it to manipulate the memory gauge in your favor. But honestly, it seems like the Digimon that you really want to hard play, but just because it has a different Digivolution cost, it could come up. But, Digivolves for 0, Digivolves for 0, you really want these Agumon in name cards to Digivolve over your egg, so then you can just keep that 1 memory. But if it ever does come up, you can also just Digivolve for 1. But yeah, I'm running 12 rookies. They all have the Reboot Inheritable, which is what I'm really looking for. So my goal with this deck is just to swing with a bunch of jamming Digimon, and then reboot during your opponent's unsuspend phase. So it's kind of similar to Armor Purge. I really liked Armor Purge, but Armor Purge protects the Digimon from being deleted, but with jamming, you survive security battles, and then with the reboot, you unsuspend, so your opponent can't attack into your Digimon next turn. So Armor Purge is good, but because you're suspended, your opponent can attack into you next turn. The Reboot and Jamming Inheritable, the Reboot and Jamming combination just makes it so you can swing into your opponent's security, unsuspend during their next unsuspend phase, and your opponent can't swing into your unsuspended Digimon. It does have some pros and cons. That was probably the best pro. But the con is that if you are deleted by an effect like Crimson Blaze or something that's just like a hard deletion, or something that would delete it, you can't purge it to protect it. So it still does get deleted by effects. Whereas with Armor Purge, you can even survive like a Gaia Force, Crimson Blaze, etc. by discarding the top card of that Digimon. You can't do that with the jamming reboot thing. But, in most situations, it just seems better. Just being able to swing at security, unsuspend during your opponent's unsuspend phase, and then do that turn after turn. So that's kind of where the main focus of this deck is. You go into your level 3, any of your level 3s, because they have Reboot, Digivolve into a jamming Digimon, and then just keep swinging turn after turn. So with Tankmon being introduced, this is the 3rd level 4 black jamming Digimon that we have access to. So this is also a really exciting point for this deck build, because I really do like this level 4 jamming. You might be thinking, oh, it's just a level 4 jamming Digimon. But yes, it is. But it is the 3rd one that is black that we now have access to, so we can have more jamming count Digimon in our deck. And also, just as an interesting aside, this is one of 2 jamming level 4 Digimon that have 6,000 DP. So if you are playing against a DP reduction deck, and then, Sealshermon is 4,000 DP, Gladiemon is 4,000 DP, just having some extra DP might be helpful for you to avoid some lower DP threshold deletion effects, or just DP minus effects. So just having that extra 2,000 DP could come in handy. So that's why I'm giving more priority to Tankmon than I am to Gladiemon, for example. So just Sealshermon, just because it has jamming. If you wanted to run some splash Commandermon in this deck, just so then you can actually take advantage of the Inheritable, you can. So it's just a Digimon that I added for jamming. It is also Cyborg. I didn't mention this, but Tankmon is Machine. So in BT15, once we do get that Hagurumon, it will help you to search for your cyborgs and machines. So of course you can search for Hagurumon itself, Tankmon, Sealshermon, and some others I will showcase in a bit. Oh, that's also a reason why the Sealshermon count is higher, because it has a good inheritable and because it is a cyborg. So Gladiemon, again, I'm just using this because it has jamming. It has Reboot as an inheritable, but that is not really relevant just because your level 3s have Reboot already as inheritable. The only time that I can really think that this inheritable would come up is if you hard played the Gladiemon, or if you got your source trashed under, and then you lost the level 3 with the inheritable. But, just having more Reboot isn't bad. It's just not helpful if it already has a Reboot inheritable, but it's not bad to have. So, it's just the 9th and 10th copies of a jamming level 4 that you can have in this stack. So Greymon, I'm kind of messing around with. I'm kind of thinking about making the top end of this deck blocker focused. So it has this really nice effect when digivolving. If you don't have a tamer with Taikamiya in its name in play, you may play one tamer card with Taikamiya in its name from your hand without paying the cost. So I'm mainly including this just so that I can get my Taikamiya out for free, because the Starter Deck 15 Taikamiya is really fun to use with blockers, and I thought, blocking and jamming is a really nice combination. Most people think about blocking as just a means to protect your security, but really, blocking can also protect your other Digimon. The Digimon who would reap the most benefit from being protected by blocking is probably your jamming Digimon. So basically, you have some Digimon out, you have a jamming Digimon, you have a blocking Digimon. Your jamming Digimon just keeps attacking your opponent, and then your blocking Digimon just protects it if, it ever comes up. It doesn't really help in this deck, though, because every Digimon has Reboot. But, let's say that you just hard played the Sealshermon, or you just hard played the Tankmon, and then, they attacked, they're suspended, now you have some blockers who can protect them. Or even if they don't protect them, just having a blocker out will stall the board state, so then your opponent can't really swing at you to chip away at your security. But because you still have many jamming Digimon, you can just keep whittling them down slowly and slowly. And then if you have a big enough blocker, they can't really close the game out. So you're just whittling them away as you are chipping their security. And then if you run blockers, your blockers aren't really used offensively, though the new War Greymon Ace can be used offensively. But, just being able to stop your opponent from attacking you is just really nice. Okay, so I want to mention the level 5s. I want to focus the deck mainly on swinging with the level 4 with jamming. So I'm not running too many level 5s. I'm not running too many level 6s, but it's still like a good amount. So the goal of this deck is just mainly to keep swinging with the jammers. I don't really want to digivolve that much. Like, digivolving is okay. But the main focus of this deck is just to keep swinging. But I will explain the purpose of these level 5 Digimon. So, Jiromon has blocker. So this really comes in handy with the Starter Deck 15 Taikamiya. It also has this effect. As an inheritable, opponent's turn once per turn, when one of your Digimon becomes suspended, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. And then Meltareomon, when digivolving and on play, for each green or black tamer that you have in play, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Then one of your opponent's suspended Digimon can't unsuspend during your opponent's next unsuspend phase. Inheritable. All turns once per turn, when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So just Jiromon having blocker is pretty good. Meltareomon can suspend your opponent's Digimon, or even then, even if you don't suspend something, One of your opponent's suspended Digimon can't unsuspend during their next main phase, so that's also pretty good, so you can stall out a turn. But these inheritables are pretty nifty when you look at Wargreymon Ace. So let's skip the Tamer for now. Let's go to Wargreymon Ace. So it is one of the new Ace cards that we have access to. Technically, we got it since BT13, but still. So Wargreymon Ace, it has counter timing from the hand, and it can blast Digivolve. So basically, when your opponent attacks with one of their Digimon, then you can blast Digivolve Wargreymon Ace onto a black level 5 Digimon or a level 5 with Greymon in name. And if you blast Digivolve, then it just Digivolves for free. You don't pay any cost. It has blocker on it innately, and all turns once per turn when a card is removed from a security stack, you may unsuspend this Digimon. So here is what I'm kind of thinking. You don't really Digivolve into the level 5 unless you have a level 6 in hand that you want to go into. So, you know, it just seems better to just keep jamming against your opponent's security and then close the game out that way. But I don't want it to be too low end focused that you have no access to higher level Digimon in case you need the access to them. So I'm also running the level 5s just for the purpose of going to your level 6. So with the inheritables, when one of your Digimon becomes suspended, which includes blocking. So if you block during your opponent's turn, then you are suspending your own Digimon, and if you do that, then you trash the top card of your opponent's security. Meltyrannomon, all turns, once per turn, if this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, including if you block one of your opponent's Digimon and then they become deleted from the battle, then you trash the top card of your opponent's security. So these just pair very well with Wargreymon Ace. So, for example, if you jam with your level 4s, then you Digivolve into one of your level 5s, and then they reboot during your opponent's turn, and then your opponent declares an attack on you or your Digimon. You just blast Digivolve into Wargreymon Ace. This has blocker, so you can now block that attacking Digimon, because counter timing is before blocking. So basically, you are able to cheese this card out on top of your level 5, and because your level 5s have these inheritables, most likely you will trash the top card of your opponent's security. And now let's go back to Taikamiya. Start of your turn, if you have 2 memory or less, set your memory to 3. All turns, when an attack target is switched, by suspending this tamer, draw 1, and one of your Digimon gets 2000 DP for the turn. So there are several ways that this card is very helpful. So one, it's a memory setter, so it's just useful in basically any deck. Secondly, this is whenever an attack target is switched. So it could be when you block, it could be when your opponent blocks, it could be when you redirect an attack with raid, it could be when your opponent redirects an attack with raid, it could be when you're playing against Black Wargreymon X and then they redirect the attack into itself, or any form of redirecting an attack from one target to another. You can use this tamer. This tamer is during all turns, so it's good offensively and defensively. So if you are on the defensive play and you want to buff up your blockers, Taikamiya is really great. If, for example, your opponent is swinging at you with a 13,000 DP Digimon, and then you have these level 5s out, let's say you have 2 Taikamiyas. Okay, let's say you have 2 Taikamiyas. Your opponent swinging at you with a 13,000 DP Digimon, you blast Digivolve onto your level 5, and then you block with Wargreymon Ace, and then you trash the top card of your opponent's security, and then because an attack target is switched, you suspend both Taikamiyas, giving this plus 4,000 DP. You draw 2 cards. It's now 15,000 DP against their 13,000, so you can, win the battle. So just having this Taikamiya out, you can make your blockers huge. Or even if you attack, let's say, you have this War Greymon Ace, 11,000 DP. Your opponent has a 13,000 DP blocker. You have two Taikamiyas. You swing at them, attempting to go for security checks, and then they block. Because an attack target will switch, you suspend both Takamiyas, giving this the DP buff that you need to swing over your opponent's Digimon. So, this Taikamiya is just really good for offensive and defensive plays. So I think that, even if I'm not too focused on blocking in this deck, like it has a good amount of blocking Digimon in it, but it's not like heavily blocking focused, this Taikamiya is still really good. Ancient Volcanomon. So I'm thinking, in what kind of situation would you really want to go to your level 6? And, for example, the War Greymon Ace is when you want to surprise your opponent and then block one of their Digimon, or just have access to a high-level blocker on the field. I didn't mention this, but War Greymon Ace is also good at aggro as well. So when a card is removed from a security stack, you may unsuspend this Digimon, so you can get 2 checks in with this. Ancient Volcanomon is also really good. So I was also thinking, when would you want to go to your level 6? Because you have a lot of what you really want from the jamming package. So just your level 3s and level 4s are pretty good at just whittling away your opponent's security. So when would you really want to go to a level 6? And it occurred to me that, just getting rid of something that's a threat to you on board. So I'm thinking, oh, cool. What about D-Digivolve? It's not as good as on deletion effects for the most part. But now with decks running so much protection, D-Digivolve just gets around most protection effects. So when Digivolving, D-Digivolve 3, one of your opponent's Digimon. So that wasn't as good in BT7 format, because back then there were very few protection effects. So D-Digivolve 3 was just meh. Like, why would you D-Digivolve 3 when there are other effects out there that can just delete something? Well, now there are more Digimon that won't be deleted by effects as easily. So now I'm thinking, oh, okay, when Digivolving D-Digivolve 3, that's actually a very good effect. So you can easily turn your opponent's level 6 Digimon back to a level 3. Or if it's like a level 7, you can trash the top 3 sources, whatever it is. But, just D-Digivolving now is better than it was back then. And because this is also kind of leaning towards a rush style deck, then its on deletion is also really good. So on deletion, you may play 1 black level 4 or lower card with hybrid in its traits from your hand without paying its cost. So just having some hybrids in the deck so they can get that last push for game is pretty good for this deck style. But also because, if you are running Ancient Volcanomon, they can just play your black hybrid from your hand for free. So that's also pretty good. So I think that Ancient Volcanomon is a pretty good choice for the deck. Sephirothmon. So it's pretty interesting. So it digivolves for 3 from your black tamers as though it were a level 3 Digimon. When digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gains Star of your main phase. This Digimon attacks. So it does digivolve for 3, but basically this Digimon digivolves for 2 and then uses a Laplace's Demon for 1 cost. So it's just like, oh, cool. You, for 1 card that digivolves for 3, you can digivolve off of a tamer, and you can also force one of your opponent's Digimon to attack. So this is just really good cost. So even though it is more expensive than just digivolving for 2, the effect to force your opponent to attack with a specific Digimon is just really good. Especially if, you do have like a Jiromon, or if you do have a War Greymon Ace, just selectively choosing, oh, you have to attack with this Digimon. Or even in like a very bizarre scenario where if oh, my opponent has this level 6 Digimon that can close out the game, or they have this level 7 Digimon that they can go into trash several security cards and then close out the game, you could just use the Sephirothmon on your opponent's level 5 Digimon, force them to attack with that level 5 before they get the chance to Digivolve into a higher level Digimon. And then if you do that, then even if you don't have any blockers out, or you don't have any ways to interact with them swing at you with the level 5, you could just do that so then they don't close out the game that turn. So this is still a really good Digimon, and I think that it's so worth it even if it does Digivolve for 3. So Mercurymon, I'm kind of questioning if I even want this in the deck, because Sephirothmon seems really good. It Digivolves for 3, but has a really useful effect that can come in every now and then. Mercurymon, on play when Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn while your Digimon gains blocker. So note that this also works on play, not just when Digivolving. So if you have Ancient Volcanomon, and then on deletion you may play 1 black level 4 or lower card with hybrid. So you can play Mercurymon, and then you can use the on-play effect of Mercurymon. So, it seems good enough to include, just in case, this isn't the Digimon that can help you stall out 1 turn. This might be the Digimon that you need to stall out for 1 turn. So just being able to give itself blocker is nice, or give one of your other Digimon blocker. And then coupled with Taikamiya, assuming that you still have Taikamiya, you can buff this thing up so they can live, anything more than 6,000 DP attacking. Chimeramon is something that I'm considering, just because this reminds me a lot of Armor Purge, Armor Rush decks from BT8, and just having Chimeramon seems like a nice way to get that extra security check. So let's say you attack with a level 4 jamming Digimon, and then, security battle, you live because it has jamming. So then you have 1 level 4 on the field. And then, if you Digivolve onto your Tamer into one of these level 4s, you swing, and then if you live that, you can then go into Chimeramon for that extra security check. It could be an extra security check, could be an attack for game, but, just having an extra swinging Digimon seems nice. It occurs to me now, I didn't really think about this before, but Chimeramon, you can put your level 5 or lower Digimon as the bottom card. So, I just realized this. You can put any of these depending on which inheritable you want. So that's pretty nice. But, just Chimeramon in this deck as a means to utilize your leftover jamming Digimon that are still alive, or just getting into hybrid swinging, and then if you live, just getting that extra attack in case you need it. It seems nice for a rush style deck. Offensive Plug-in A. Main effect, one of your Digimon gains security attack +1 for the turn. If you have a Tamer in play, you can use this card without meeting its color requirements. So even though it is a red card, you can still use it in this deck just because you're running the Taikamiyas, and Taikamiya is arguably a big component of this deck. It's not like a main component, but just getting like a memory setter is useful. So even if you don't need the redirection to get that extra DP and draw 1, just playing a memory setter just seems reasonable. So you most likely will have a Tamer out in most games. But if you have a Tamer out, then you can use this ignoring color requirements, so you can just play this as a 2-cost option. This pairs very well with jamming Digimon, because if you give jamming Digimon an extra security attack, then they can swing, get 2 checks in very easily, because they most likely will not be gone after the first check, unless it's removal by an effect or something. It is also a good combination with Wargreymon Ace, if it does come up to it. But because you can give Wargreymon a security attack +1, you swing, check security. After the first check, it unsuspends. Second check, still swinging, and then you swing for 2 more checks. So you can get 4 checks off of War Greymon Ace if you have offensive plugin. So it's just a really good card that you can use on your level 6 War Greymon Ace, or just your level 4 Jamming Digimon. So this seems like a pretty fun deck. I'm not running much removal options here, and I am running more level 4s than usual. The reason is I really want to focus on jamming as the win con of this deck. So just having 10 jamming Digimon, just so then I can draw a lot into my jammers. So just having more jamming Digimon, that's mainly the reason why I'm running so many level 4s. But I'm going to adjust this deck if I need to, just so that I can run more removal options. I'm not running too many level 5s just because I don't really see as much of a need to go up to level 6. Most other decks go up to their level 6 just because their level 6 is their main win con. The main win con of this deck are my level 4s. But I am running them still just in case I do want to go up to level 6, in case something is bothering me. I don't want them to swing at me for game, and then I just need like a blocker out. Or just being able to de-digivolve something so that I can remove it that way. So basically, the level 6s are just in this deck mainly to combat my opponent's strategies. If they have something that they want to swing at me with, War Greymon Ace coupled with Takemiya will help me to outlive them, hopefully. Ancient Volcanomon will help me to just remove them, like a soft removal of them. These two are just hybrid for game. Chimeramon just so I can DNA Digivolve to go for game. Offensive plugin just because it's overall just a really nice card that really rounds out the deck. So this is kind of what I'm thinking about, like a jamming reboot deck. But after playtesting, I might just adjust some ratios. I might find that I don't really need that many jamming Digimon. And then if I remove some jamming Digimon, and if, I realize, hey, I don't really need the hybrids, or I don't really need Chimeramon, or whatever, then I'll just put some removal options in later. But right now, this is what I'm thinking. Just the hybrids to add more consistency, jamming Digimon to add more consistency. There's not too much draw power in this deck. The only real draw power that you really have are from Takemiya and from Pagumon. So I kind of want to run more jamming Digimon just because I know that there's not much searching going on in this build. So let's talk about a different build. So I am like really focusing on jamming and reboot for right now. And in the future video, I'll talk about blocking and reboot. So right now, basically the same idea, but then this time it's, taking out the level 6s and just focusing on level 4s and some more removal. So basically same idea, same rookies with the addition of 2 Chikurimon. Chikurimon just so then you can stop your opponent from reducing play cost. Gladiemon jamming, Sealstramon jamming, Tankmon jamming, all of them are at 12. So this is more closely related to Armor Purge, just like the original Armor Purge with 4 Lydramon, 4 Flamedramon, 4 Magnamon. So you have 4 Gladiemon, 4 Sealstramon, 4 Tankmon. So basically 1 for 1 swap. Mercurymon, just so they can hybrid for game. Chimeramon, just so if your jamming Digimon lives, and then you have another level 4, you can DNA Digivolve to go for game. Izzy Izumi, just because Izzy Izumi is just a good generic black memory setter. There's not too much of a focus on blocking in this deck, so you don't really need the Stardeck 15 Takemiya. However, if you are playing against another deck that does have blockers, then that Takemiya could be good. But right now, Izzy Izumi possibly switching this out for the Stardeck 15 Takemiya. Izzy and Joe, just so they can get a bunch of memory. This memory will be useful for you, so they can just remove their Digimon with something like Ultimate Flare, for example. Black memory boost, so they can just search for more of your Digimon. Offensive plugin A, just because, you know, just like Armor Purge, this replaces the Fire Rocket. This replaced Megadeth. This replaced Hammer Spark. Basically, I just took like my old Armor Rush deck and I just like put in Digimon that were closely related. This replaced Davis Momia. This replaced Davis and Ken. But yeah, some of them aren't exactly equal swaps, but you know, it's close enough. This is just so that you can give the jamming Digimon more security checks, which will also be the main focus of rushing your opponent down. So Def Xmon, so there was not really a good replacement for armor texture. There's not really a good card that will unsuspend your Digimon. So you can't really do the same thing as in armor rushing where you fire rocket, unsuspend, and then you get more checks in. You can't really do that with this deck. However, Def Xmon is just a good card overall, just because you can stop your opponent from attacking you as much. This will put some pressure on the opponent. This can remove some blockers if they have any on the board. So if you just on-play this, you can remove some blockers. You can either by de-digivolving them or just like completely deleting them. But this is pretty good. And then I'm also experimenting with some more versions. So this, I don't remember. I made this like weeks ago. But all the level 3s have Reboot. This gives your Reboot Digimon on your turn plus 1000 DP. Then, you know, just have some jammers. And then your level 5s take a fork. So you can either continue to jam with your Digimon, or you can go into Militaramon and then just keep something suspended for a turn. Wargreymon Ace is just pretty good, just because if you blast Digivolve onto Militaramon, you block, you get rid of something, then you trash the top card of your opponent's security. I think that this Gigadramon was included because I also wanted to focus on an alternative to Wargreymon Ace, and instead of Ancient Volcanomon at the time, I was thinking about Wargreymon for a more offensive approach. So Wargreymon has Raid, which is also really good because it pairs very nicely with Taikamiya. So when you attack with Wargreymon, you can Raid, go into your opponent's unsuspended highest DP Digimon, suspend the Taikamiya, get some more DP, get some more draw, and then all turns, once per turn, when an attack target is switched, unsuspend this Digimon. So you can get out 2 Digimon in a turn, or you can get out 1 Digimon and then go for security. Quartzmon, so this is more on the defensive side. So if you go to your Wargreymon Ace or Wargreymon, and then, you know, there's not really anything that you can do about the situation, you just go into Quartzmon. So when Digivolving, suspend all other Digimon and all Tamers. Then for every 2 suspended Digimon and or Tamers, gain 1 memory. All turns other than this Digimon, all Digimon and Tamers don't unsuspend. When attacking, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Then trash a top card of your opponent's security stack for every 5 suspended Digimon and or Tamers. So Wargreymon and Wargreymon Ace are both black level 6 Digimon. So they can both go into Quartzmon. For 6, suspend everything. Every 2 suspended Digimon or Tamers, you gain back 1 memory. So it's, you know, a nice card to include. If your opponent has a pesky blocker on board, or if, you know, they are close to getting rid of all your securities, this will hinder them from blocking you or from attacking you. Taikamiya, again, just because of the really good DP buff and drawing. Iron Fisted Onslaught, just so that I can have more removal, and Ultimate Flare just for more removal. So these are currently 3 versions of the deck that I came up with. So one version is more focused on jamming, however, it does still go up to your level 6s if you want to go up to your level 6s. The weakness of this deck is that you aren't really running many removal options. It's more of an aggro approach with some defensive countermeasures. The second deck is basically just a rip-off of my Armor Rush deck. So all your level 3s, except for Chikurimon, give Reboot. Chikurimon is just there to stop your opponents from reducing play costs. Technically, it also stops you from reducing play costs. You can't Def Xmon if you have this out, but most likely you will keep this out just to stop your opponent. And if you need Def Xmon, you swing with this, hope it dies, and then play Def Xmon. So this is more of an approach on attacking with your jammers, your jamming level 4 Digimon. And then if you need to, you can play Def Xmon just to stall out game. You have some tamers to just give you more memory. Chimeramon just for the extra push. This has more removal, so you can use Ultimate Flare. You can use Offensive Plugin A for more security attacks. Black Memory Boost. You could also replace this for more removal if you want to. I'm going to experiment with my builds, or at least I'm going to experiment with this build because this build looks the most fun to me. But other builds also seem fun as well. And then this is the build that is kind of more on the regular side of building a Digimon deck. So just going up to your level 6. So this doesn't focus on going up to your level 6, the first build. The second build doesn't focus at all on going to your level 6. And the third build is more so focused on getting to your level 6. And then even possibly your level 7. So, different builds for different play styles. I'm really excited about just having the additional Reboot level 3 Digimon, the additional Jamming level 4 Digimon, and the Taikamiya. So I would say that these are the 3 cornerstones of now this deck being viable, just because we didn't have many Reboot level 3 Digimon before. And, Taikamiya is just good offensively and defensively. So, again, I will make more decks in the future. I will make a deck that focuses on having Taikamiya and having Wargreymon BT12 as the main boss Digimon of my deck, just because Raid is good. Raid with Piercing is even better. But Raid with Piercing with a bunch of DP is so good. So just making some decks in the future, and yeah, I'm very excited, especially for Starter Deck 15. Starter Deck 16 is also good, but I just love the cards that are available in Starter Deck 15 right now. Starter Deck 16 I am excited about in future formats, but for the rest of BT 13 and Starter Deck 15 and 16 format, I'm going to focus on Starter Deck 15 just because it seems more fun to focus on Reboot, jamming, and blocking. I do also have some interesting ideas for using Tankmon in other decks, so stay tuned to see how I use this. But yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, enjoy Starter Deck 15 and 16 when they come out.